Okay, so have you ever just stopped and thought about how much AI is kind of creeping into everything we do these days?
Yeah, it's really remarkable.
You ask Siri some random question, or Spotify just seems to know exactly what song you're in the mood for next, or
Mhm.
Waze predicting your commute down to the minute, or even Facebook automatically tagging you in photos.
Right.
It's a silent revolution happening right under our noses.
Absolutely. It's becoming increasingly integrated into our lives.
Well, get this, because there's this whole other level to all of this that's emerging, and it's called generative AI.
Exactly. And while the AI you're describing is incredibly useful for, analysis and prediction,
Right.
generative AI takes a different path.
Okay.
It's focused on actually creating things.
So in this deep dive, we're going to try to unpack this whole generative AI thing for you.
Absolutely.
We'll look at, what it is, what makes it so interesting, and how it's starting to show up in some really important areas, particularly in how we learn and discover new knowledge.
Yes.
Definitely.
We've got some really insightful material to go through here.
Yeah, and I think it's understandable if staying on top of all the latest technology can feel a little overwhelming at times, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
So that's why we're here to try to offer you a really clear, straightforward understanding of generative AI and its potential impact without getting bogged down in all the jargon and technical details.
Yeah, we're not going to get too
Just
technical.
consider this your, a direct line to the essential information.
Yeah, the need to know stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the plan.
Sounds good.
We're going to start with, a basic definition of generative AI, like what is this thing fundamentally?
Okay.
Then we'll dive into why it's getting so much attention. What are the cool things it can do? And then really focus in on its applications, especially within education and research.
Great.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So to set the stage, artificial intelligence, or AI itself, has been around for a while.
That's right. It's not a brand new concept. It's not some brand new thing that just popped up. So at its core, when we talk about AI, what are we really describing?
Well, essentially, artificial intelligence refers to computer systems that are designed to mimic or simulate human intelligence.
Okay.
So think about tasks that typically require human intellect.
Right.
Things like problem solving, learning from experience, data, and making decisions. Those everyday AI examples you mentioned earlier, Siri, Spotify, Waze, they all rely on these underlying AI principles to function.
So AI is the big umbrella term.
Exactly.
So where does generative AI fit into this big picture?
So generative AI is a specific form, or more accurately, a specific process within the wider field of AI.
Okay.
And its primary goal is to generate new information, new content, or new outputs. And when we say content, we're talking about a really broad range of things like audio, computer code, images, written text, even videos. The key here is that the AI is actually producing something new, something that didn't exist before.
So it's not just analyzing what's already out there, it's actually creating something new from scratch.
Precisely. It's going beyond analysis and into the realm of creation.
Got it. So how does it do that? How does it learn to create?
So generative AI utilizes machine learning algorithms.
Hmm.
These algorithms enable the AI to identify patterns and structures within existing data.
Yeah.
So once it understands those patterns, it can then generate new content that reflects those patterns.
Okay.
And this is particularly important in the field of education, where it has the potential to create learning materials that are aligned with specific curricula and even tailor the learning experience to individual student needs.
So it learns from a bunch of examples, and then it uses what it's learned to make its own versions.
That's a great way to put it. It learns from the data it's given and then extrapolates to create something new.
That makes sense. So what's the main driving force behind this capability? What's really powering it?
So much of generative AI relies on what we call deep learning models. These are sophisticated neural networks capable of processing huge amounts of data and learning very complex relationships within that data. This allows generative AI to generate content that can be remarkably human-like.
Wow.
Whether it's responding to your prompts in a conversational way or generating a realistic image from a text description.
So it's almost like computers have gone from just processing information to actually being able to kind of imagine and create things.
It's a significant evolution in how we think about and utilize technology. Think about the history of writing.
Okay.
We started with typewriters, which were essentially mechanical tools for getting our thoughts onto paper. Then came word processors, which introduced digital editing and formatting.
Right.
And now we have AI-powered software that uses machine learning and natural language processing to help us actually create the text itself.
So to really sum this up, the core function of generative AI is to basically create new content.
That's the heart of it, to generate something new, something
Yeah.
that didn't exist before.
Okay, we've got a good grasp on what generative AI is now, so let's shift gears and explore why it's causing such a stir. What are the main uses and benefits that are getting everyone excited?
The real power of generative AI is in its incredible versatility. It has the potential to be applied in so many different fields. But for our purposes today, let's focus on its impact on education and research.
Sounds good. So let's start with the students. How might they encounter or use generative AI in their learning?
Well, from a student's perspective, generative AI offers several potential advantages. For example, it could help them become more efficient with their coursework and assignments. Imagine a student needs to brainstorm ideas for a research paper. An AI tool could help generate initial concepts and directions to get them started.
That would be super helpful because sometimes just getting started is the hardest part.
Absolutely. Staring at a blank page can be daunting. It can also act as a study aid. If a student's struggling with a topic, they could use generative AI to get further explanations or explore different perspectives on the subject matter. It could even help them improve their writing by offering suggestions on clarity, grammar, and style. And for students learning a new language, it could be a fantastic tool for practicing their skills and getting immediate feedback.
So it's like having a personalized tutor or a study buddy available 24/7.
Exactly. It's about providing support and assistance whenever and wherever it's needed. Now let's switch gears and consider how educators might use generative AI in their work.
Okay, so what are the benefits for teachers and professors?
Generative AI could serve as a virtual teaching assistant. Imagine being able to direct students to an AI tool that can answer common questions, provide clarification on course material, or offer guidance outside of class time. This would free up instructors to focus on more complex issues and individual student needs.
That would definitely help with managing their workload.
Definitely. It could also be a valuable tool for creating course content and materials. It could generate drafts of lesson plans, develop quiz questions and sample problems, or even create writing prompts for assignments.
Okay.
And for faculty involved in research, AI tools could help analyze large data sets, identify patterns that might not be immediately obvious, and even suggest potential avenues for future research.
Wow, that sounds like it could really speed up the research process.
It could be a game changer for researchers.
So it seems like generative AI has the potential to make both learning and teaching more efficient and effective.
It's definitely a powerful tool with a lot of potential in education. Now let's look at some specific applications in education and research based on the material we've gathered.
Let's get into the specifics.
Our sources highlight several key areas where generative AI is making an impact. One is in improving learning directly through the use of AI-powered prompts and templates.
Interesting. So it's not just about creating finished content, but also about helping students structure their learning process.
Exactly. It's about providing guidance and scaffolding within the learning experience itself. Another important area is in teaching and course design, which we talked about earlier. The ability to generate learning materials and even assist in outlining a curriculum has major implications for how educators approach their work.
Makes sense. It can really streamline a lot of the preparation work.
Definitely. The source material also mentions assignments and assessment. While it acknowledges that AI can be used to create content for assignments, the focus is actually more on how to prevent students from misusing it for cheating.
Right, that's a crucial point. We need to make sure students are learning and not just using AI to do the work for them.
Absolutely. Academic integrity is paramount. And that brings us to the area of writing and research where we see some very specific examples. In terms of writing the material, highlights how AI can help students and researchers produce better written work, particularly for research papers and even research grant proposals.
Oh, that's interesting. So it could actually help researchers get funding by improving their writing.
Exactly. It can help ensure that their ideas are communicated clearly and persuasively. And in the research domain, AI tools can be used for various tasks, especially conducting literature reviews and note-taking. Imagine the time saved by having AI sift through tons of academic papers and extract the key information.
That would be a huge help for researchers, but it's important to remember that AI should be a tool to help us not to replace our own thinking and effort, right?
Absolutely. The material emphasizes that there's a big difference between outsourcing tasks to AI and outsourcing our critical thinking. It makes a powerful statement that there is no app to outsource thinking.
I love that. So AI can help us with certain tasks, but it can't do the thinking for us.
Exactly. The human element of analysis, interpretation, and critical thinking is still crucial. The material also talks about using AI as a research assistant, not a supervisor. It can be great for creating structure, like an outline for a grant proposal, but it shouldn't be generating the core content or directing the research questions.
Right. It's about using AI to augment our capabilities, not to replace them entirely.
Precisely. It's a partnership between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. And of course, the issue of academic integrity is a big concern, especially when it comes to students potentially using AI to cheat on assignments.
Yeah, we need to address that head on.
Absolutely. The sources talk about various strategies professors can use to discourage the misuse of AI for cheating. This includes things like banning AI use altogether, although the effectiveness of AI detection tools is questioned to return to more traditional assessments, like in-class handwritten assignments and exams, and incorporating more interactive and process-oriented assessments like oral exams, introspective assignments, class discussions, debates, role-playing exercises, and projects that involve oral presentations.
So it's about shifting towards assessment methods that really focus on individual understanding and the learning process itself, rather than just the final product.
Exactly. It's about adapting our teaching and assessment strategies to make sure that students are still developing genuine skills and a deep understanding of the subject matter.
Okay, so to recap, we've discussed what generative AI is, its potential benefits for both students and faculty, and some of its key applications in education and research, while also acknowledging the need to use it responsibly and ethically.
That's a great summary. We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have. So
Yeah.
for you, the listener, hopefully this deep dive has provided you with a much clearer understanding of what generative AI is and why it's becoming increasingly relevant in today's world, especially in education and research. Even if you're not a tech expert, these technologies are starting to have a significant impact on our lives.
Understanding these fundamental concepts can be incredibly empowering. It can help you feel more informed and less overwhelmed by all the rapid advancements in technology. You can engage with these developments from a place of knowledge rather than just being a passive observer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to think about the implications of AI's ability to generate new content and assist with various tasks. It's a powerful tool with the potential to change how we learn, create, and discover. Consider this with AI now capable of generating new content and assisting with intellectual tasks. How might our understanding of creativity, originality, and even the very essence of learning and discovery evolve in the coming years as generative AI becomes more integrated into our lives? It's a fascinating question and one that we believe is worth exploring further.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
See you then.